Um, I just want to welcome everyone to our opening session today. Um, as you know, this workshop is coming first in a series of workshops we're planning for students, postgraduate students, undergrad students, postgraduate students, and faculty members to support them in their academic writing and research writing, all prepared by the Writing Center at the University of King Abdulaziz. Um, well, in this session, we will Ms. Duaa Zawawi will talk about the differences between academic IELTS writing exam and other exams, other writing exams, and share some of the tips that can help students or anyone really considering taking the IELTS exam. I'll leave you now with Mr. Kamal, who will share with us a few housekeeping notes, and will introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Am. If you like this session, please let us know at the feedback form. If you want us to prepare more topics, like more workshops on specific topics, please let us know on the feedback, and we will be more than glad to do that for you. So I'll leave you everyone to Mr. Kamal, who will introduce our speaker.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suha. Thank you very much for the nice information and valuable introduction. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Suha Ansar is our new head of training and development unit. And for this academic year, even Dr. Shams Bukhari joined us as a head of the collaboration and technical support unit. Dr. Nasreen Hariri joined us as the head of research and support unit. Dr. Hanadi Khawadardi again joined us as the head of the tutoring and consultation unit. And above all, we'll have a new director for the Academic Writing Center for this academic year. That is Dr. Mariam Al-Kubaidi. Hoping that we'll work together as a great team, inshallah, and benefit all students, staff, employees, and so on. As mentioned by Dr. Suha, today's workshop is going to be about how to prepare for your IELTS writing exam. And this is our fifth workshop about IELTS. I posted in the chat box 4 links about other 4 workshops, previous workshops, of course, conducted by the Academic Writing Center about IELTS. Today's workshop is going to be presented by Ms. Duaa Zawawi, who is a language instructor at the English Language Institute, King Abdulaziz University. She's been working for the ELI for about 13 years. Ms. Zawawi has a BA in English language from Al-Qura University. She got the BA in 2011. She is also CELTA certified since 2012. Ms. Duaa got an MA in English literature from King Abdulaziz University in 2012. In addition, she got an MA in applied linguistics and TESOL from Newcastle University in 2020. And finally, Ms. Duaa is interested in creative writing and research on motivation and learner psychology. In order not to take much of your time, I'll leave you with Ms. Zawawi. Please enjoy it and make use of this excellent topic, and please convey it to your students. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Ms. Zawawi.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal, Dr. Suha, for the nice introductions. I'm not gonna bore you with a lot of things, but I would love to thank Miss Alia Siddiqui for preparing and compiling most of the material for this for this workshop, and I'm really proud of what she's done so far. I hope you get to benefit from both of our work and research mostly, um, to help you prepare for the the academic writing exam in IELTS. Okay. Here's a quick outline of what we're doing in this session. We'll discuss briefly why should we go for the IELTS instead of all the other um, language proficiency tests. We'll discuss briefly academic writing versus general training writing in IELTS. Then we'll discuss the differences between task 1 and task 2 in academic writing, some samples, test tips, general and more specific to the tasks, and finally some test practice that you'll hopefully find helpful. Now, why bother? Why do the IELTS? Now, unlike other language proficiency tests, IELTS actually tests your language competence in whichever form of English. So you don't have to be proficient in let's say, American English or British English versus British English or anything like that. So it tests your understanding of English as a language overall. Um, the question forms are varied. So some of them, if you've ever been familiar, if you've ever taken IELTS or are interested in IELTS, some of them are fill in the blank, some of them are true or false, and there are other types of questions. IELTS preparation is relatively faster than other tests. It is divided into sections that can be tested within a week or so. So usually the speaking portion of the IELTS is separated from the reading, writing, and listening. And the duration of the test is shorter overall. As we mentioned before, there are two modules, the academic and the general training. The academic module tests for academic settings like universities, jobs in education. If you are students at KAU and you want to be exempted from taking English classes, you will need to present an IELTS, an academic IELTS certificates. Okay. On the other hand, the general training is for work settings and general immigration purposes. So as a faculty member, as a KAU student, as a person who might be interested in going for their further studies in the future, yeah, you kind of want to go for the academic writing. Now, briefly, we'll talk about what task 1 and task 2 in general training writing are. Task 1, you are usually presented with a situation and asked to write a letter requesting information or explaining what the situation is. So the letter may be personal or neutral in style. On the other hand, the second task, you are asked to write an essay in response to a point of view, an argument, or a problem. Again, it can be more personal in style than the academic writing. Okay. And the topics are usually of general interest. On the other hand, if we discuss academic writing, which is more what we're focusing on here, task 1 is usually about a graph, a table, a chart, or a diagram, and you're asked to describe, summarize, or explain the information in your own words. So you might want to familiarize yourself with how to analyze data in a chart or a graph. You'd have to describe and explain the data, describe any for example, trends or features that you see in the data. You have to describe the stages of a process, how something works, or describe an object or an event. On the other hand, when we talk about the second writing task, you're not you would have to write for longer. You'd have to write an essay in a response to a point of view, an argument, or a problem. the issues mentioned in the question, in the statement in the question in the second writing task, are usually of general interest. They're easily understood. They're not too difficult to understand. However, they have what you write, your response has to be more academic in nature and neutral, in a neutral style. Apologies. Okay. The duration of the exam is 1 hour. So it would be advisable to divide that 1 hour into 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes for the first writing task and 40 minutes for the second writing task. In both of them, you are assessed for task achievement, which is about 25%. Each of them is divided into 25% of your total overall band. So task achievement, coherence and cohesion, grammar, and vocabulary. If you are interested to learn more about the overall band and how the writing scoring is done, please feel free to follow the QR codes presented here. Now let's discuss some samples. So this is a diagram of a process called hydroelectronics, so electricity generated by kind of water, let's say, and water flow and all of that. So you're in the first writing task, you have to write 150 words reporting or explaining how the process works. So you need to look at the best thing to do is to look at the diagram and understand the different parts of the diagram, then understand how this process goes. So you have a dam which collects water in a reservoir, and this water moves moves through the penstock over here to the turbine, and through that movement in the turbine, you get some electricity generated in the generator and power and saved in the powerhouse, then moving to the long distance power lines. Again, take a couple of minutes to understand the diagram. That's a very important thing to do when you are trying to prepare for or write in the writing task, the first writing task. So this is one form of the type of questions that could come in that kind of task. There are other types, and you can actually follow this QR code to see a model of for this specific writing task. Okay, a model essay. Same deal here with the second task. Usually the second task is a statement, starts with a statement, and then it presents you the chance to give your opinion. So as you can see here, many people believe that social networking sites such as Facebook, and I'm sure you know other websites, have had a huge negative impact on both individuals and society. From this statement, we can see that the general belief is kind of negative, as you can see, and it focuses on individuals and society. So we can kind of come up with ideas immediately once we think about social networking sites and the negative effects they have on people, individuals, and society overall. And this is not such a difficult, let's say, topic or argument to kind of consider, because we are familiar with social networking sites. We use them in our everyday life. So we understand the different opinions associated with them. So to what extent do you agree? And this is very important here. You have to actually show your opinion and state your opinion. What do you feel about this argument or this opinion? Do you actually agree with it? Do you disagree with it? And you have to build an argument, come up with reasons, come up with examples to support your argument, okay, your different arguments regarding this. Again, this is a sample. This QR takes you to a model essay that answers this kind of task. Now, I have some general test tips. Please read all the instructions very carefully. They will tell you what you need to do and how you need to do it. To avoid losing points for not following the guidelines, just read the instructions first. Plan and check your answer. Make sure to take a few minutes to plan what you want to write. Jot down some notes, perhaps a few ideas here and there, an example. So taking a few minutes to plan your essay will help you, eventually will help you come up and write with flow, without interruption of ideas. And later on, leave a few minutes, maybe between 3 or 4 minutes, to check everything. Check your grammar, check if you have flow of ideas, if you need to edit some stuff, spelling and all of those things, the technicalities could be checked later on. You may want to make notes in the beginning when you plan. Of course, you can use the question paper to put down your notes, write down your notes. You're not graded on whatever is written there. So you're free to use the question paper to analyze and understand the question, the different aspects of the question if necessary. All right. You must write your answer in full. Writing notes or bullet points or words is, individual words here and there is not acceptable, unfortunately, and will cost you to lose marks. So write complete sentences in an essay form, in paragraphs in an essay form. Things that way are easier to grade. Whatever you write down is easier to grade, and you will get better points for that. Pay attention to spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Yes, they are kind of a headache for a lot of people, but they are part of the assessment. So you need to actually practice. If your spelling is somewhat somewhat bad, so you need to practice ahead of time. Take time to work on words and writing them in the correct spelling. Improve your grammar. Practice writing in different tenses, in more complex, simple, complex sentences. Using words and transitions to help you move on from one point to the other. Make sure your handwriting is clear and understandable, because the examiner needs to understand what you read, okay, what you wrote. So they need to read it very clearly to give you the points you deserve. You're not graded on handwriting, but they have to actually understand what you wrote. Organize your ideas clearly. Now, a clear division into paragraphs is the best way to go, but of course, the different arguments have to be organized into those paragraphs in a good way. Show the flow of your ideas, or the different aspects of your argument, by dividing them into paragraphs. Okay, putting them into separate paragraphs. And never copy the question, ever. You don't want to copy, you can paraphrase. You can reintroduce the topic, or introduce the topic in other words, in your own words, instead of copying the question. Copying the question will cost you to lose some points. Use a variety of sentence structures. As we mentioned, you are examined, you are tested for your grammatical range. So using different structures, a variety of structures will help you. Even tenses, if you think about it, can help you demonstrate how well your English is, okay, or how strong your English is. Read the question very carefully. We'll get back to this point. Reading the question and understanding it is essential, absolutely important. So writing about the wrong topic will lose you a, a lot of points. It's basically task achievement means that you address the question, you actually answer the question. So that's 25% of your total of your grade in the writing exam. Um, if you are a student at KAU, if you're studying English, content, task achievement, or what we're referring here to as task achievement, is a bigger part of your grade in the final exam. So keep that in mind, please. Now, some tips for task one: make sure you understand the question type. Is it about a graph? Are you asked to analyze the graph and indicate some features and trends? Uh, are you presented with two graphs, one in the past and one in the present? That will help you understand with the grammar you need to use, some vocabulary items you might want to use. Um, Also, how to analyze the data, okay, and how to present them later on in words. Do not write a memorized answer. This applies to all kinds of writing exams. If you write a memorized answer, it's not going to help you at all, okay? Provide a clear and on-point overview. Uh, do not offer your opinion. Be clear, to the point. Offer what you see on the graph or the diagram or any kind of visual representation that you're offered with. Okay? And concentrate on grammar. Make sure your grammar is on point. Your tenses are correct. Okay? Um, Sentence structure is faultless, let's say. And again, do not exceed 20 minutes. Less than 20 minutes would be perfect for task one. Now let's move on to task two. Understand how the scoring is done in this task. Now, it's not about how good or amazing your thoughts are, it's about how you build an argument. Okay? So, building an argument that is supported by examples, that is supported by reasons for that argument, is more important. Here's how you can divide your 40 minutes. You have 40 minutes. Hopefully, you didn't exceed your 20 minutes in task one. Read, okay? Give a couple of minutes to reading the question and understanding it. Um, Plan your essay. Plan the flow of the ideas you have in the essay. Give it 5 minutes, okay? That will help you come up with ideas. You're gonna brainstorm. You're gonna include any ideas that you might want to add in your presentation. And guess what? You're also gonna organize those ideas into paragraphs. So those 5 minutes should be dedicated solely for planning. And when you do that, you will find that writing your essay is much faster and much easier than if you don't actually plan. Writing and revising. Revising could be done in a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, you whatever you need to get done. Sometimes when you write, you automatically kind of think about how I'm going to write this in the right way. Uh, but don't obstruct your time or waste your time thinking, oh, how do I write this correctly? Put it down on paper, maybe come back to it later on, um, to correct any mistakes you might have when you revise. All right? Understand the type of essay. There are generally 5 types of essays. Uh, opinion-based essay. So do you agree or disagree with the opinion presented in the statement? Um, talk about advantages or disadvantages of, let's say, a solution. Discuss both views that agree, views that disagree. Usually, you are presented with both. Some people think this, the other people think that. So this is what we call a balanced opinion essay, where you talk about both opinions and discuss both opinions, talk about the arguments for the first opinion, talk about the arguments for the second opinion, and then come up with a conclusion later on. Now, two-part questions, okay, are usually usually they come up. Um, they offer an opinion or an idea in the first part, and then they counter that opinion in the second part. They it's kind of similar to some of the other essay types. Solution to a problem statement. So they might offer you with a problem, and they ask you to provide solutions or one solution. Usually more than one would be acceptable. Most important thing is you try to illustrate how the solution actually solves the problem. Okay. Some sample patterns to follow is writing an introductory paragraph, then followed by main ideas and examples. So the main ideas can be divided into 2 or 3 paragraphs, depending on how many ideas you have and how much support you can give them. And finally, you would have a conclusion. Um, the conclusion usually summarizes whatever you have mentioned in the body, and perhaps offer a final comment from you. Now, structuring your paragraph should be somewhat easy. If you follow this kind of formula, it's not, it's not set in stone, but maybe this would help. Make sure that each paragraph has at least let's say 4 sentences. If you add more than 4 sentences, it might be advisable to actually divide those ideas into a separate paragraph, and each sentence shouldn't be more than 20 words. You're not going to waste your time by counting words, so break down your paragraphs visually. Practice how to write, how to know if your paragraphs are, if your essays are in 250 words or 300 words, by dividing them visually, so you see how many let's say lines, how many words you actually include in each line. Okay. Maintain connectivity throughout the essay by using linking words and words that show the flow of your ideas. Okay, and stay connected, focused to the topic. Practice breaking down, as I said, your ideas visually in paragraphs. Okay. Now, the content of the paragraphs can be, let's say, divided into the following. Make a point, we call it the P method. Make a point, explain the point, and give an example to support your explanation. So let's say you have an argument, explain what your argument is, and give an example to support that explanation. Okay. If you follow this formula, that way your ideas are supported, your ideas have flow, your ideas are clear, and it's easy to test, practice websites that can help you. You can follow the QR codes if you're interested in doing that. All of them are free. And to be honest, from my experience, I usually, whenever I sign up to take the IELTS in the British Council, they offer the practice, not just for free, But because I've signed up for it, I have additional practice to work on. That is quite similar to the test that I will be presented with. Okay. Here are the sources that we got our information from. I hope they can help you later on. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Please share any questions. This is now we start the Q&A session, part of the session. So this is all I have to say for the IELTS preparation. There is a lot more in the sources that can help you, inshallah.
Wonderful, great, as usual, Ms. Duaa, mashallah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or any addition, if you want to add more information, please, you can use the chat box or you can use your microphones.
And let me add, thank you again, Mr. for this. And let me add that this session will be recorded. So for the teachers joining us today, I know in your classes there will always be like 1 or 2 students who's planning to take the IELTS in order to be exempted from the English language course. If you have that students, this session will be very useful, I reckon. You can find it on our YouTube channel together with other previous sessions on IELTS writing test preparation, which we hope your students will find very useful. So feel free to share the link of this recorded session with your students if they're planning to take the IELTS writing test.
Sorry to disrupt, to kind of cut you, but yeah, the PPT is available right now here on Blackboard. You can simply download it. There's like as a small square with an arrow coming off it. So yeah, not off it, inside. So the arrow is going down into the square. Or is it a triangle? No. Yeah? Does that help? So you can
Great.
click on it to download the PPT.
Wonderful. Okay, the YouTube channel link has been posted in the chat box where you can find all the recorded workshops since 2020, I think. So you can find all the workshops. There are 4 extra workshops about IELTS itself. So again, you can make use of them and you can share them with your students. For participants who are willing to get certificates, please make sure that you fill in or fill out this feedback form and make sure that you write a valid email address in the form. Thank you again and again for your attendance, your participation.
Okay, I want to share 2 other files. They're PDFs that were prepared by Miss Alia. They have a lot more information, so they can be really helpful for everybody who wants to prepare for the IELTS as well. I want to share them as well, okay? Is that okay?
Well, good, yes, of course, please.
Okay, very well. Let me add them here.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Kamal.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, great, alhamdulillah. Brother, can you please add MCB in the form? There's only women's campus and not men's campus mentioned in the form.
What do you mean by this, brother?
I mean, the option to choose, like you're from the men's campus or the women's campus.
You mean in the evaluation or
Yeah,
feedback
the form.
form?
Yes, the feedback form. That's right.
Sure, sure. Inshallah, we'll add
Thank
it. Inshallah.
Thank you very
Inshallah.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. To remind you, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow's, inshallah, second workshop for this week is going to be presented by Mr. Ahmed Jan. We'll send you, we already sent you something, but we'll remind you, inshallah, tomorrow morning. The workshop is going to be about leveraging digital affordances for effective writing teaching from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. actually. And as usual, it is going to be online, presented by Mr. Ahmed Jan. So inshallah, we'll see you there. By the way, the document being displayed can be downloaded directly from the screen, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in getting this document, you can download it from the top right corner on the screen. Inshallah, for the slides, we'll add them to the AWC's channel, and you can again find all of the slides there. Thank you again and again, everybody, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, inshallah. Please make sure that you fill out the form if you want to get your certificate.